Okay, and you're on, Karen.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Karen Williams, and I'm the general manager with Bravo Signs here in Greensboro. And I feel honored to be asked to speak with you this afternoon about your signage. Is it important? Is it valuable? Will it make a difference in your business? Is it time to upgrade? Or if you're getting ready to start out, should you start at all? I have been in this industry going on 3 years, but have over 40 years of business experience and marketing background as well. So, the first thing that I would like for you to look at is the slide that's there now. And would you believe that that business is actually a day spa and a nutrition therapist? Would you know it if you went down the street? If you had an appointment, would you know whether or not you were in the right place? Nope, you sure wouldn't. Now, let's take another business, same thing, a day spa, but look at the difference that it made just by having that one sign out front, because then you know you're in the right place. And also, everybody going down the street knows that as well. Statistics show, these are not mine, that signage is the most important and powerful tool available to a small business and retailers today. Signs sell more products and provide more service than any of your salespeople. It is the part of a small business that customers take for granted until they are missing. That's when we get a call, somebody backed over my sign, you know, there's been a storm. We get those panicked calls. Take a moment to think about how many times a day you use or depend on signs in your life. According to the Small Business Administration, signs are the most effective yet least expensive form of advertising for small business. Without a sign to help identify a business, the old adage, a business without a sign is no business. So that's what we just saw in the previous slide. Well, pretty much you could say that this person has no sign. Can't see it, doesn't know what it says. So they're about in that same boat as the first person. A Brigham Young University study showed that products with signs outsold products without signs by 18%, even if the sign was simply an informal sign about what the product was. And another study measured sales of end caps. We all love going by those end caps, especially if it says clearance. That these signs, and that they went by the end caps and found a significant difference in sales on the end caps that had signs versus those end caps that didn't have any signage at all. So in this test, the price for the product really didn't have any bearing on it at all, as long as there was a sign there. Signs never get tired. They don't complain, and they seldom make a customer angry. It's service with its service like some employees do. I mean, we certainly know that now with people being grouchy and grumpy and not smile. It always bothers me when I'm at the grocery store and number one, they throw my groceries, and number two, they don't even smile. And I think, wow, I could have gone anywhere, but I chose to come here. I want you to also look at these two pictures on your screen. If you were looking for somewhere to eat and the crowds were as heavy as they are, and maybe you're in a town you've never been, which location would be the easiest? Well, of course, it may not be as aesthetically pretty, but you certainly can find somewhere to eat very easily. And that's what signs are all about. Yes, we do have GPS now, but it's still, if you're riding down the road and you're looking for somewhere to eat, or you're walking down a street, You may or may not have your GPS on. So let's move on. Signs never call in sick. Signage is the most important and powerful tool available to a small business. And I've just gone over several of these. I mean, if they spend money to find out and to see what if signs, people think everything is on the internet now, but you still spend a lot of time riding around, going to a doctor's office. I mean, how many times have we tried to find a doctor's office and have no way of finding it? There's no signs. It's just big buildings and they all look the same. We have 4 basic types of signs that we have every day that you see out and about in retail, medical field. So let's go over those. The first is an informational sign. Your informational signs provide direction to a customer or a client. They're your wayfinding, that gives them direction. Your ADA, which is required in all public buildings. You'll see our little ADA sign up there that has a woman on it. It also, in most cases with your ADA signs, has to have Braille at the bottom of it as well. So it has to meet a certain criteria. Can't be but so high, can't be too far away from the door or from your stairs. But it also tells the fire department, we do a lot of signs every day that have to be compliant with the fire department, but it gives instructions, just like on a door. It tells you when that place of business is open and closed, what days of the week. You have a bus stop sign that tells you which bus stops there, what number stops there. So your informational signs, your street signs from inside to outside are very important. And we don't think about that. You don't think about how would you navigate and get around, even if you weren't in a car, if you were walking, riding a bike, or, on a bus. So we have those informational signs in most all countries. Okay. The next set of signs, sorry about that, that we have introduce sales. They tell your customer they're drawing them in to let you, the consumer, know that something special is going on. It doesn't always have to be about a price. We all certainly know that sign in the middle, when that light is on, what that means, that they're hot, coming right off the conveyor belt and just walk right in to get that Krispy Kreme. I won't even stop at Krispy Kreme if that light's not on. But it tells, we just redid a big banner on the end of a apartment building. Their phone number changed. Well, that was very important. And that falls in under that sale category because they needed to let the public know that the number had changed. It also advertises your local, anything that would draw a customer or a client to you that's important. Support local foods, vegetables that are grown. If you like the North Carolina barbecue, I didn't realize there was any other, you'd want to stop somewhere that was serving North Carolina barbecue. So your sales sign does not always talk about the price, but it does let that customer know that, hey, there's an action going on. The third is to educate. We have educational signs, and that doesn't mean, and that's why I have the different examples here for you. That doesn't mean that they're just at school. We read nutritional labels. Those are educational. The sign that deals with breast cancer, very near and dear to my heart. I'm a 14-year breast cancer survivor, but there are instructions on that sign. And even if you don't think about it, look at the car dealerships. Their signs on their cars will tell you, is it on sale? What year model it is? Maybe there's something special on there. Maybe there's, navigation system on there. Maybe it's front wheel drive. So your educational signs do just that. They're giving you some kind of fact that you would otherwise have to look up. The next category is entertainment. Customers have many choices today where they do business. And customers want to do business with people that have a sense of humor who make them smile. Oh my goodness. Well, who doesn't smile when they see a Walt Disney, when you're getting to Walt Disney World and you see that big arch that says Walt Disney World? I mean, that just makes me smile. Signs that entertain customers will keep them in the store or at a business longer. I mean, the first time I saw a TV camera with running a commercial or the news when I was pumping gas, I thought, this has got to be the craziest thing I've ever seen. But now I find myself watching it instead of just looking around, feeling uncomfortable, wondering when am I ever going to finish pumping gas. I have something to do that entertains me. And the gas industry knows this. They're, more and more when you go somewhere. Think about all the lights and signs in Las Vegas. That in itself is worth a walk up and down the strip, and especially in the old part of Las Vegas to see those signs. That's entertainment just in itself. So think about that. Just like a little sign that says, I hate alcohol, it's Dory. Oh, look, alcohol. Well, that's a fun sign. So think about that when you're doing your signage, whether it's your permanent signage or just every now and then. In October, we had a sign out in front of the shop here that had superheroes with masks on. It says, we wear masks. So think about that. So your signage doesn't get stale. Sorry for scratching my nose. The pollen. Some of the top mistakes that people make when they're considering their signage or they make their signage. Don't confuse your logo that may be near and dear to your heart with your signage and your advertising. When logos really became popular was back in the day when we all had what's called a letterhead. The younger people have no idea what letterhead is. And it was sign of prestige, and you had that logo on your letterhead that was printed directly on there. That was on an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. If you take a very intricate or look at the picture that says Bleeding Cowboy. The picture beside it that uses a very intricate script. If you look at those signs, those flags hanging on that pole, if you're riding by, you don't have a clue. If you're doing as little as 35 miles an hour, you have no idea what that sign just said. I go by billboards all the time and they are packed solid. And I think to myself, someone wasted their money, because you have less than 3 seconds to read that billboard, and especially if you're driving. So they be very clear and concise when you're doing your signage. Be very careful also about what fonts and how you do. Just take a look at 2 of the examples I have on there. That's actually Click Lovers. Doesn't look like it, does it? Or Fast Taco. That doesn't look like it. So be very careful. You also, which I would hope anyone that you would do signs with would certainly do the spell check, but check out the business access. These are some of the mistakes that you make and you don't think about. We all love our logos. We have a reason for them, but very few of us are Nike, Coca-Cola, even Krispy Kreme, that one symbol tells everybody what's there, what you have, what kind of business you're in. So if you do a logo that you just insist to have on your signage, make it very clear, make it large, very readable. I always tell people, when you're not sure about something, print it out, draw it up, stick it on the wall, and walk back 15 to 20 feet. Do you notice it? Can you tell what it says? Those are just some of the things that's another reason you want to deal with a professional sign company and a designer, but some designers will still lean a little more to the fluffy, pretty side as opposed to what's actually visible, readable, clear, and tells your client, your customers, your potential customers, what your business actually is. At the bottom, you can see the slide. Whoops, excuse me. You can see the slide that shows the different size fonts as well. And that's something that I know I come across with customers all the time is, they want to pack too much, or they'll say, well, I just want a 2x3 sign, but they want to put it out on Wendover. Well, nobody can tell what it is. So don't waste your money. Use your money smart, and get some advice. If you're not real sure about something, get some advice. So we're going to move on. Maintenance. Boy, that's an important one, especially if you have a lit sign. Just take a look at some of the signs when some of the lights go out, but not all of them go out. And some of them are pretty embarrassing if you're not very careful. We have painted signs. So of course, over time, they will also fade and the paint will go away. Different materials that we have today hold up for different lengths of time. And it also makes a difference of what area of the country you're in, what your weather is. Something that holds up much better in Florida may not hold up as well in Minnesota because of the temperature difference. So, and if you'll go think back to one of those first slides where the sign was all covered up with foliage, that's another thing. Go buy your sign, or if it's a friend or somebody and let them know that those bushes have grown up around your sign. I couldn't see it. Or if you're going to a place of business, when you go in, let them know. Maybe for some reason they hadn't looked at it. So this is just some really fun historical facts. We in America developed our sign practices based mostly on the European models. Earlier signs included symbols of merchants, goods, and the tradesman's craft. I love history, so if you go to Charleston or Williamsburg or Philadelphia, you'll see the old signs that just may have a hat on there, or it may have a fork and a knife, all different symbols and signs. And that was because when they first started with signage, very few people were able to read. They weren't educated in being able to read. And then you take a country like America, where we've been such a melting pot and had, especially when we were really young, had so many people in different languages. Even if they knew how to read in their native tongue, they couldn't have read the signs in English. I'm sure that there's mostly the people that I get behind or beside or in front of going home can't read the signs on the highway. I'm pretty sure of that, but that may just have to do with me. A ghost sign. I found that very interesting. We see from a long time ago, back in the 20s and 30s and 40s, even up through the 50s and early 60s, that they actually painted their signs on the side of the buildings. Well, a ghost sign is one of those old hand painted signs that were some of them 2 and 3 stories high that have faded away and are disappearing. So ask somebody the next time, say, you know what a ghost sign is? And very interesting. Some of the things that you want to do is change if you have the ability and can, and in some places you're not allowed to, but change your design a little bit. Change up your signage. If you can't do it to your big one on the building, or um, you're not allowed to per regulations, then see what you can do that's just something temporary, A-frame sign out in front, or just something fun every now and then, a banner. And around holidays too. I mean, we have, remember our veterans, we printed up for Veterans Day, we printed up um, yard signs, Coro signs, and shared them with some of our businesses. So think about that. Think about making some changes. It doesn't always have to be dramatic, but if you feel like what you've got's not working, then think about it and ask your customers or your clients as they come in. FedEx reports say that 67% of customers will buy a product if the sign caught their eye. Wow, that's a lot. 67%. That's a pretty good return on a most of the time one-time purchase. Although in 1908, the Ford Model T made cars far more accessible to the American public, it was not until 1922 that the United States took the first real steps towards standardizing road signs. And then they were just shapes. They didn't have anything on them. Round for the railroad crossing, and you can see there, look at all the signs that we have now on the roads. One of the most iconic signs of all time is the Hollywood sign in California. However, most people are surprised to learn that the sign originally read Hollywoodland when it was installed in 1923 before being changed in 1949. Signs attract 50% of a startup's new business. That's a lot. That's one thing that I enjoy doing and would love to have more access to people that are entrepreneurs, startups, or they're ready to grow. So many times when they finally make the call to us, they're ready to open their business in 2 weeks and they never even thought about their signs. And then they don't have any budget for their sign. That needs to be one of the first things that they think about: their location, what restrictions there are, and what their budget is for their signage. According to the late Ray Brady, who was the VP of marketing for Atlantic Records, nearly 70% of customers believe that a business signage reflects the quality of its products or services. Boy, we really don't want to have poor looking signs. Customers draw conclusions about your business merely based off of the signage. Well, haven't we all done that? Haven't we all been traveling and decide where to stop and eat, or where to purchase gas, or any type of thing, clothing store? I think about our professionals, our CPAs, our lawyers, but maybe their signs all faded out or half falling down, and you go, wow, is that really somebody? We can't help it. That's what we think. Is that really somebody I want to do business with? So it's very important. I'm going to go through these. These are just some of the signs that we've done in the last couple years. You've got all different types of signage, and most always can fit your budget. Your interior and exterior dimensional letters. People think they just go on the outside, but very beautiful on the inside as well. We also can do vinyl. That's become very popular, is doing vinyl. If any of you ever get an opportunity to go visit Go Green Plumbing, they have done a phenomenal job of picking out their mission statements, sayings that are important and uplifting to their employees, and we put them up all through their buildings. So if you get an opportunity to ever go by there, do that. But it doesn't always have to be, you know, the $100,000 sign. You can start your budget with several $100s and work your way up. Here's some of the maintenance that you can see that sign, what it looked like after we finished refurbing it in the fall. Not a lot of cost out to the customer. We have monument signs, some that are lit from the inside, some that are not, some that have exterior lighting shining up on the signs. Talk about maintenance. This was one of my babies. And look at what they look like now. So again, not all that expensive. Think about your vehicles. Absolutely. If you own your own business, you want to be advertising all the time. And how many of you have gone up and down Battleground and seen the pink van? It gets seen. Absolutely is seen. It's just a wonderful thing to do as far as your marketing. If you can just be one person, everybody that's around town doesn't know that. They'll think every time they turn around, they see your van or your vehicle. Back to some of the directional, but these are also some different materials. It's called a routed sign. Anybody that wants to come by and touch and feel it. And when the machine is running, you can't hear yourself think, but it's phenomenal to see the machine and how it makes those signs here in our office. These are some that we do for the ADA signs that are required by law at apartment complexes. Back to our directional signs, it gives somebody a direction of what's available. And this is my why, guys. This is it. This is why I still get up at my tender age of 60 years old and learned a new career. But having been a business owner, I already knew how important signage was. But I am happily married. We have 4 children. We're a blended family. And when Mike and I got married, he didn't get just me. He got me and 11 grandchildren. And that is certainly my passion. You give me 5 minutes and I'll talk to you about my grandchildren. And then, of course, we can't forget our fur babies. So they're pretty important too. And yes, as I told you at the beginning, I work with Bravo Signs, and we are passionate about our customers. And we talk to them about what their needs are, where they're going to be, what their budget is. So if anyone has any questions, whether I sell you a sign or not, call, ask. You can email me at Karen, Karen, at bravosigns.com, or you can call at 336-410, 510, 0427. I have too many numbers in my head right now. And we moved back in, whoops, lost it. Sorry, guys.
That's okay.
We moved in October to our new location. Anybody that goes by our old location in downtown on Battleground, it's all gone now. It was torn down, and they're going to put up a 5-story office complex there. It's going to be beautiful. We've seen the plans for it, but we're now on Oak Branch Drive, and stop by. We're here every day, Monday through Friday, and we'd like for you to just come in, see what we have. I like for customers to be able to touch, feel, and see what different types of signs there are and that's available. most of the time that changes their mind on something they thought they wanted. Thank you, Office Evolution, for inviting me. I certainly hope that you have a little better understanding now of how important your signs are. Give us a call. Thank you.
This is fantastic, Karen. Thank you so much. I do have a few questions from the chat.
Okay.
The first question is, does Bravo Signs design logos, or do you just print them?
We do design logos. That is a pay for service fee, but we always have a graphic artist. They have to be pretty specialized to know how to deal with, they got to be able to read a ruler as well. But we do that on a regular basis where a customer will come in and go, I don't have a logo, I don't have any ideas, and we work with them. So yes.
Okay. Now, do you offer that as a standalone service if somebody just wants a logo designed, or is that part of the process of getting a sign?
We prefer it to be part of the process of getting design of signs, because of the fact that we are a sign business and we are busy. So we prefer, I'm not saying we won't, but it is our preference to work with clients that are startups or that want to change, rebranding. I am actually working with a company now that is buying up car washes, and they're rebranding 10 that they bought in Florida and Georgia. So, and a lot of times that happens just with the rebranding.
Sure. Okay. What kinds of rules need to be followed when considering a sign? Are they governed by the city, county, state, etc.?
Most all of your signs are governed by the individual cities. So take, for instance, Guilford County. Well, we have Greensboro, we have High Point, we have Summerfield, we have Oak Ridge. So if you are within the city limits of whatever municipality, you first will follow by their rules, and their rules for permitting and sign size and all the particulars have already encompassed the county's regulations. They've already been married together. But there are times that it's a location that's out in the county. It may have a High Point address, but it's not in the High Point city limits. So then we have to work with the county. Pretty much all signage is ruled by the city and then the county. So you always want to check. If you're not working, you're not sure, call a sign company or ask the sign company that you're working with. A lot of what we do every day is to make sure that not only what the wants and needs of the customer, but it has to meet the guidelines of the city. You can't just put a sign where people are pulling out and they can't see around the sign. Now, I'm not saying some of those may not be out there. They were probably very old signs and they've been grandfathered in, and the road has been widened, and they're much closer to the road than any new signage could be.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to skip one question, go to the next one, because the last one's probably going to be a little bit longer. The next question is, do you work with apartment property management corporations? And if so, Miss Marty has a referral for you.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. We work with, actually work with a lot of property management for shopping centers, building complexes, medical complexes, apartments, because they're constantly having to replace and or update their signage.
Perfect.
So yes,
Perfect.
We do.
Thank you, Marty, for sharing that.
Thank you, Marty.
The last question is, how has COVID affected your business? And is there anything we should be thinking about regarding signage or whatever as everything opens back up? Because of course we all got signs when everything got shut down, for social distancing and hand washing and all the different things. So as things start to open back up, what should we be thinking about? And then overall, how has it affected you guys at Bravo Signs?
We did, at the beginning a year ago, let's go back a year ago, we, like everyone, no one was sure what was coming. We did close down for 6 weeks. Chris still worked. We had a very skeleton crew of 2. And then we all came back. We were deemed an essential business. We knew that from the beginning because we do signs for the parks, for the police department, medical. So we actually were an essential business. We just weren't sure at that very beginning what to do. I can tell you that our first rush of calls were for signs that, sorry, we're closed, only open certain hours, no one can come inside, standing 6 feet apart, wear your mask. Then after that, by the middle of the summer, we're growing in the Triad tremendously. And we have been very blessed to be very busy through all of this. And even our staff was hit between Thanksgiving and Christmas with COVID. So I was very blessed to not have it. But so we did have our own trials to work through with that. I think as we're opening up, for one thing, still for the next 6 months to a year, and I'm just going on a personal, my observation, and one of the things I didn't mention was 100 years ago, I started out as a pediatric nurse. So just from my medical background is that we still need to be very, very careful. We still need to keep our distance. If you go in a restaurant and they've got every table open, that's their right. That's if they choose to do that, but that does not mean you have to sit at every table. So I would recommend to businesses that if they govern them themselves, an office building, a medical office, if they're not a chain or a franchise that's being dictated to what they can and can't do, to still ask people to wear their mask, to still have the hand sanitizer out, or to still, ask for those distances between each other. Some really strange things at the very beginning, and for about 4 months, we couldn't get acrylic. There was a shortage. There was a worldwide shortage of acrylic because everybody wanted the acrylic for dividers, for nose guards, you name it, they wanted the acrylic. So then we had a shortage of acrylic. We had to get really creative with some of our, even though that's not our, that was not the business that we were in, we were servicing our customers that needed those things. Then a shortage of lumber, which is, we now have the lumber, but a 4x4 post that last March, we paid $4.98 for. We had to go buy them yesterday because we naturally make signs and some of them are on wooden posts. Those same 4x4 posts are now $21. Aluminum has gone sky high. And what drove that is because of the pandemic, they depleted all of their stock, and then their workforce got sick or they were shut down. We now are not seeing that shortage, but we also are not seeing the prices go back down. So it has certainly affected the cost of goods as well. I hope that answered your question.
Yes, that is incredible. That is unbelievable, the price of wood right now. Wow.
Yeah.
I knew it went up, but I didn't know it was like 500%.
Yes.
That's crazy. It's crazy.
Every time they bring me a receipt for where they've bought wood, they go, don't get me, don't get me.
Yeah,
And that's
right.
part of one of the things that you have to track. I mean, especially in any business, you've got to know what your cost of goods are. So
Yes.
as we are paying more and more for some things, um, it was supply and demand to begin with. And like we usually happens when the price goes up, it doesn't usually come back down. We're never going to see 4x4 posts at $5 a piece anymore. I just don't think so.
Hmm. Yeah, people have proven that they'll pay what it's the going rate is now. So
Yeah.
wow, crazy. So Karen, thank you so much for being with us. It's so great to see you again, and as always, it's a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you for everyone who joined us, and this has been recorded so that I can share it out with the people that weren't able to make it. I hope everyone got something from this today, and also as we do see the light at the end of the tunnel beginning to glimmer just a little bit, everyone stay safe and healthy, and maybe by the end of the summer we can be out and about having a fairly normal life again. Really appreciate you being here, Karen.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
I
Thank you,
hope it was
everyone.
record
Thanks, Karen.
worthy.
That was good.
If my nose hadn't been itching so much, and if I had been a little better at technical, whatever happened to the little remote clickers where you could click through your slideshow?